wholesome alternatives. So could you tell us a little bit about what is the effect of bad food on the body? Right now we have too many choices of bad foods, and pseudo foods is what they're called. There's a new term out about it. So give us an idea, what is the effect of bad food on the body?
Well, I call it sometimes frankenfoods. You know, I wrote that book, Fast Food Genocide. I think a lot of people are recognizing that processed foods like bread, white bread and marshmallows and white rice and oils and, and processed meats and bacon and, and cheeseburgers and whatever it is, people eating donuts and cookies and crackers and rice cakes. I think many people are understanding that these modern, highly palatable, desirable foods for some are creating an epidemic of cancer, heart attacks, and strokes and dementia. I think what people don't realize is that about 100 years ago, 1 in 100 Americans were mentally ill. Today, it's 1 in 5 Americans are mentally ill. And I outline in the book, Fast Food Genocide, the link between fast food consumption and mental illness. There's even a study that shows that with more candy consumption in childhood and more fast food and sweets, that you have that these people who are eating candy 1 or 2 times a day or those kind of sweets in their childhood have about a 40% chance of being, a 60% chance of being arrested for criminal behavior by the time they're 40 years old. The link between obviously processed foods, junk food, and fast food and criminal behavior. The point is that these foods just don't destroy your body. They destroy your mind. They destroy your intelligence. They destroy your ability to be kind and not be easily angered. And it's just, they're very destructive to the where we've become in this world. When people, shoot up a nightclub or kill people, nobody's talking about the fact that how their mental illness was fed by these, by the foods that people are being fed, and by the junk food it's so dangerous. In the book Fast Food Genocide, I went back till the Civil War, and when Black Americans were released as slaves, and they had more centenarians, more people living to be 100 years old, achieving intellectual and economic progress. But there was so much, within the Jim Crow laws came back, and there was a backlash, and there were lynchings and violence in the South and driving people away. And the point I brought this up is because pellagra and hookworm were rampant in the South among the Caucasian population. And pellagra in those days caused a red neck, caused violence, increased propensity for violence, homicidal, suicidal behavior. The corn and molasses and pork diet was niacin deficiency, caused brain dysfunction, more propensity for anger and violence. And nobody's talking about today how food affects the brain and how we're destroying the fabric of our society to be peaceful and loving and supportive of each other. And you don't have equality, and you don't have the opportunities for happiness unless you have the access to good food, unless we can feed our children and feed ourselves food that protect our body and protect our brain. And cancer is the consequence. And this idea that we learned in medical school, for example, that Black Americans have a higher rate of prostate cancer and breast cancer and stroke and high blood pressure, and as if there's some genetic weakness there, is even a form of bigotry, because it's not true. There's no how should I say, genetic propensity to develop these diseases. It's lack of access to proper food. And because of the food deserts that are occurring in these populations, you see the same problems develop in people of other skin colors. Your color of your skin doesn't make you more prone to bad health. It's all about having access to food and the food we eat in our life isn't the only thing that affects our health. The food our parents eat in their life affects our health too. So